Love and immunity, beloved. Some tips about spiritual awakening, meditation, and channeling. A lot of you guys don't realize that spirit is a directive. It says, do not be conformed by the world, but by the renewing of your mind. And you have to understand your mind is a channel. Your mind is a directive, and your mind is also spirit. And this mind can channel anything. If you see what we've channeled, do not be conformed by the world, because the world has channeled poverty, hate, racism, evil, injustice. So you have to be careful when you are coming into spirit, because a lot of people don't have spiritual legacy, and meaning that they have been already ordained to understand spirit because of their bloodline. A lot of you guys don't realize that when we mess with spirit, we are going into our Akashic records. That means the DNA or the genetic code of God's mind. It says, do not be conformed by the world, but by the renewing of your mind. And your genetic code, you came with God's directive. But because our whole history is about being conformed to the world, we've lost that understanding. And now we have to go and meditate, and we have to do all these other things in order to get that directive back. But the truth is, because you lost it, or because your bloodline may have a karmic debt to where it utilized that spiritual gift wrong or conformed it to the world. And we must be careful when we are coming into spiritual awakenings and have a beautiful, beautiful directive of why we want to become spiritual beings, because that is our birthright. But when you take this spirit and conform it to the world, beloveds, that becomes karmic debt. And you have to remember, you and I are nothing but a bloodline. And when we play with that bloodline, it's a genetic code. We don't damn ourselves. We damn the bloodline of our spiritual understandings for generations and generations upon generations to come. So we have to be careful when we are awakening spiritually, and to not take our spiritual gifts out into that world. Do not conform your spiritual gifts in that world. That is spiritual poverty. A lot of you guys don't realize that you should have that understanding already. And if you don't have that understanding, if you didn't come here, you have a karmic debt in which you probably have to now be the suffering of, because your ancestors didn't do right by their spiritual gifts. We have to understand there are laws to be in this body. We are a spiritual being first.